All right, Chicago Hockey Radio. Tassos, Kirkos, Justin Lynch, Raven Gasser, and Reed Jansen in the studio today. Give him a shout out. Welcome to the club, Reed, behind the scenes. So Chicago Hockey Radio, no Lee today. Lee will be back on Friday. So Justin and I holding down the fort. How you doing today, brother?
Very good. It's Blackhawks game day, so time to get excited. The season is finally officially here. Well, sort of. It's here, but close enough. Definitely a good day.
Yeah, it is a good day. Gonna go to the game. Should be cool. Bedard's playing. Lee was totally wrong. I'm gonna call him out. He said that the tickets were going to be cheaper today, and because it was the day of, you're getting rid of the last minute tickets. It's the Blackhawks. So it was,
yeah,
in
cheap
fact,
doesn't exist if the Blackhawks.
Yeah, the price, in fact, went up by about $20 per ticket on game day. So thanks to Lee for that. Tough break there, but yeah, no, that's exciting. It's cool that there's hockey back in the city here. Yeah, it's fall, dude. It's like a nice day out. It's a little chilly here, and it's the weather's dipping down. It feels it's time for hockey. It's absolutely time for hockey.
I love that. I love this time of year, like fall. It's just perfect kind of weather. That light breeze and like just that brisk, crisp air. It feels so nice, and yeah, you could tell like getting a little colder. It's ready to go. Yeah.
Do you have like spots here that you like have ever gone out, or just maybe had your own spot for outdoor skating here? Was that like a big thing for you growing up ever, or was it even like a thing at all?
I wasn't really much of an outdoor skater or pond hockey person. I always just played indoor rinks, but occasionally I'd go downtown Chicago and I'd skate the ribbon during the winter time, or they had that other like ice rink there too. I'd occasionally go there, but I didn't really have a lot of outside experiences, I guess, playing hockey a little bit.
Yeah, I had never obviously gotten to do it being from Florida, but I did it a few times like since moving here, and it's you feel the difference. Like but it is incredible. But global warming. But you also gotta find the right spots too. A lot of private rinks, are the ones that are still out there, and I feel like you got to find like something that's like public that's pretty cool. I don't know of a ton, but if anybody has any recommendations, please put them out there too. I would happily take that. So first cuts of training camp: Martin Misiak, Marek Van Acker, Alex Ferron, and Ty Henry. Four junior hockey players, or no? Ferron is going to the AHL.
I think he's going back to juniors, or could be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're all junior players. Yeah.
Van Acker's hurt. He was the first rounder, the surprise, but we've talked about it. Like this kid's a good player.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
So, and I like Ty Henry a lot too. Lee's not sold on Martin Misiak, but I think he's going to be better than. I don't know. I think he could play. I think he could definitely.
Yeah, no, I think he had a decent rookie year last year. He had a good start, kind of slowed down the second half of the year, but I like what I saw from out of the prospect showcase. He had a sweet saucer pass to Frank Nazar, so I don't think it's really. I mean, go back to being one of the first cuts. That's not really something to worry about. I think they just want him to, get back to his junior team and not miss any time there. I mean, what would benefit him more, playing like one preseason game or not missing any time for his junior team? So I don't think either of those cuts, any of them, are really surprised. They're all kind of in the same situation. So. Yeah, I don't really think much of that.
Van Acker is like out for a while too, right? It's like months.
Unfortunately, I think it's like, I want to say December is like when he gets back. I could be wrong about that. Yeah. Which that's too bad, but I mean, at least he'll be fully healthy and not, playing through, injury anymore.
What do you think? There's something to, maybe there's no difference in, quality, but I think there might be. But the Blackhawks having him do his rehab he plays for the Bulldogs, right?
Yeah, right. Hamilton or Brantford Bulldogs.
Brantford Bulldogs. So, yeah, just him doing his rehab there versus doing it here in Chicago with the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, I think since he's, junior player, I think that kind of makes sense. I know sometimes that has been the case. I know like Sam Savoy, I know last year he had injury and he actually did that with the Hawks instead of his junior team. But No, I mean, I think that's, that's cool. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
24
I don't know.
draft pick. So, yeah,
Yeah, he could be really really nice on this Hawks team in a year or
for
two.
sure.
Um, okay, so preseason thoughts today. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I like the lineup they've rolled out, especially that top line, Bertuzzi and Bedard and Tavo. I love that top line. Hope it's a top line we see for most of this season. But I like what they got going on there. I also like what they got going on the second line with Hall, Nazer, Lardis. That should be pretty exciting. I think, give Frank Nazar a good opportunity to kind of show what he's got with, Hall and Lardis too. I think for him to be in a second line spot, I know it's just a preseason game, but he was really impressive in the prospect showcase, and I think he's really been impressing the Hawks. So, we're a ways away from seeing with NHL level, but I mean, I think that's definitely got to be excited about in the future. Yeah, third line we got Savoie, Lewinsky, Anderson, so a couple prospects and a vet. And then the fourth line we got Donato, Spellacy, Smith. Pretty impressive for Spellacy to kind of insert himself into a preseason spot like that. I mean, he's a 24 draft pick, third rounder, and he's definitely been impressing the Hawks a lot. Yeah, similar to Lardis, I thought he was really impressive in the prospect showcase. So with him, it's definitely even longer ways away from potentially seeing him, and he's definitely a big if, but a lot of intrigue with that guy. And the defense is pretty much all the regulars I think we'll expect to see. Martinez, Jones, Vlasic, Brody. I talked about in the last show how I don't love them splitting up Vlasic and Jones, but that is what it is. And then Korchinski, Murphy, third pair. No Kaiser, so I like Korchinski in this lineup. It gives him a chance to, prove he should be on the Hawks this year, which I think he should be. So hopefully he shows that. And that looks like Mrazek will play most of the game, maybe not all of the game, and then Weeks is the backup. So, but yeah, no, definitely a mixed lineup. Got a good amount of vets in there, but also, good amount of prospects. I think they'll definitely swap for the Friday, Saturday road games in which you'll see more of those young guys and some of those vets you don't see here, like Kurashev, Reichel, Foligno, Dickinson. They'll probably be in the Friday, Saturday lineup on the road. So it looks like the Red Wings got a pretty similar situation too. Like they have, they're playing a good amount of vets, but no Patrick Kane though. And here's the thing: I can't help but notice on their lineup Alex DeBrincat, Tyler Mott, Eric Gustafson, Ole Mata. So literally every single former Blackhawk on the Red Wings is playing except for Patrick Kane. So I don't know what's up with that. I think they're trolling us over there, but yeah, I think both the laps are pretty even. It should be a good game tonight. Yeah.
The Soderblom, Casper, Brandzeg, Nygaard line is going to be cool. Seeing
Yeah.
Michael Brandzeg, Nygaard in his first preseason game will be pretty cool too. Yeah. Yeah, the no Patrick Kane. You know. Yeah, I wish they would have played him. I don't know why I mean, they're it's a good mix of vet and rookie, so you can't
Yeah,
blame them too much. But
it is. Yeah, I just don't understand why they're sending like DeBrincat over there. You're not gonna have Kane too, like in Chicago. I mean, that's not like it's far from Detroit. So I know a lot of times like you don't really play your vets in the away games, but they actually are playing a lot of them. So I don't know. I think they just want to split up those first two, top six lines because they got the Cat Larkin Raymond line. So I think for the Friday game at Detroit, we'll see the Kane Tarasenko Compher line. So I think they're just splitting up, similar to the Hawks. So not too much to look into there, but I'm a little upset. I think it would have been nice to see Kane play again in Chicago today, but it is just a preseason game, so it is what it is.
yeah. Can we talk about these Kaprizov rumors then? Like if
Yeah,
you
sure.
don't want to talk about this, yeah, I mean, man, I would have loved to have started the show with this, but that's wild. Like that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was expecting to wake up. I woke up and that's like the first thing I saw on my phone. Apparently, this is actually an article after the draft, so I don't know why this is like just now being reported. But yeah, I mean, according to Mark Lazarus, rumor in the draft floor this year is Kaprizov is looking at Chicago in 26. Well, that's what Bleacher Report said. Really, it's Chicago's looking at Kaprizov in 26. I think Kaprizov is reportedly intrigued by that. So whatever that means, I don't know how truthful that is. But I mean, if you do look at it from Kaprizov's perspective, I do think it's logical. I mean, 2 years from now, the Blackhawks should be out of the rebuild. They should be in contention, hopefully coming off a playoff berth, and like they wanted to take that next step into playoff contention or Stanley Cup contention, I should say. We've been talking a lot on the show about when do the Hawks make kind of that big move, add that superstar in 26 would make a lot of sense. I think they could do it as soon as next year, but Kaprizov would line up well with that. I think they envision him being like kind of the next Marian Hossa to like the squad. So I think him with Bedard would be absolutely fantastic. That'd be an amazing first line, but maybe it's a bit of wishful thinking. Maybe it's a bit of home cooking, these rumors. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Lazarus is pulling this out of his ass. I don't know. But I mean, I think logically, when you think about it, I mean, where would you rather be in 2 years if you're Kirill Kaprizov? Would you rather be stuck on the Minnesota Wild, or would you rather, jump ship to the Chicago Blackhawks, a team on the rise, and play with Bedsy? I think from his shoes, I think it would make a lot of sense, but that's easy for me to say. I mean, I don't know what he's actually thinking. So, but Yeah, definitely interesting rumor, and we'll see. I mean, we'll definitely circle back to this in the future.
I think the Minnesota Wild are such an interesting team because you have these talented players like Brock Faber, and like that kid's a number one for the next 10 plus years on your back end. You got Gustafson and Wallstead, and that, Wallstead could be, one of those like Jeremy Swayman types in a year or two. Even you see how these goalies just step in and kick. Joel Eriksson Ek, Marco Rossi, like some of these players are really good, and frankly, they should be way better than the Hawks. And like I don't know. I don't know what the problem is there. I don't know. People love hockey there. They want it to be they want it to have a winner. They want the Wild to be good, and it's the Parise and Suter contract buyouts, I guess, are really hurting them.
Yeah, the salary cap situations definitely hurt them. It'll continue to hurt them this year, but I think that's off the books next year, so maybe then they'll help them out.
Yeah, I think the lame answer is that they're just gonna that he's gonna re-sign in Minnesota. Like they're gonna hammer away and pay him whatever. And
yeah, I mean, this rumor might accelerate that too. It's like, oh shit, we can't let anyone else lock this guy up. So I mean, from that perspective, I think realistically, yeah, that's probably what happens. But we could always dream, we could always hope. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, so my thought is just like sometimes when these reports come out, sometimes it is because like someone in the camp is putting it out there. I'm not reporting anything. I'm just putting this out there that sometimes it is just like stuff fabricated online or just somebody trying to get a story. Not saying Mark Lazarus is trying to get a story here, because that's who Bleacher Report says this is coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a pretty. If it were to happen, it would be wild. Like Kaprizov is one of the 10 best forwards in the National Hockey League, close to.
Oh yeah, no question. Yeah.
Yeah, people are like just now learning that Kirill Kaprizov's really good, and it's pretty funny. It's like,
and like the numbers he puts up on that team, like he has so much more untapped potential. Because like, I mean, the team around has been okay the last couple of years, but I mean, imagine the kind of stats he could put up with Bedard. That could be the best duo in the league right there, honestly. So I mean, yeah,
that would win a couple Stanley Cups.
Yes, I mean that would be a huge move, but yeah,
we'll Tampa Bay Lightning, Kucherov to the, Braden Point, I guess, better. But yeah, no, I thought that was a fun way to kick off the day. I was like, what are we going to talk about today? And yeah, no, Mark Lazarus giving us some food for the fodder. Yeah. So, what else you got lined up for the Hawks tonight? What do you what do you expect out of it? Do you want to see anything in particular out of these kids? Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody you have like really particular expectations of or something like that. I don't know. Just what do you want to see? If Spellacy plays, I'm pretty. I think he is going to, right? That's going to be.
No, he's in the lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah. So I think in terms of expectations, I want to see that first line cook. I mean, Bertuzzi and Tavo getting a shot with Bedsy, and I think that's the ideal line combo you want to have this year. So I think you want to see those three cook. I like the power play set they got going on too. So I think seeing that cook as well will be nice. I mean, that's definitely something that sucked last year for the Hawks. So if they can get that working well, that'd be great. But yeah, the second line I think is what intrigues me the most. I think Hall and Lardis, like they should be a lot of fun to watch. Nazar especially on that line. I really want to see him play well because if Nazar wants to make this Hawks team, like he needs to have an insane preseason. Like he can't just be good. Like he has to be great and look like an NHL player. If they give any doubt, then he's probably gonna be a Rockford with all the vet signings we made. So, and that's a guy I really want to be on this Hawks team. I've said it many times in the show. Like I think he's ready. I think he could slide in second, third line spot in this team, no question right now. So I really hope he asserts himself and has himself a preseason. I think he'll get that chance 4, 5, 6 games. I think Richardson said those types of guys will get it or fighting for spots in this team. So yeah, he's a guy I definitely want to see assert himself and definitely have himself a good preseason and prove that he's worthy of being on the Sox team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've decided for myself that my two biggest storylines I'm hanging on to with the Hawks right now is this defense core and what it's going to look like actually. Like, how are they going to make all these pieces fit? Yeah, and so I'm kind of interested to watch that a little bit tonight, seeing if they even maybe decide to change it in game. I doubt it, but maybe, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Korchinski's another guy like
Yeah.
Nazar. I think he needs to have a really good preseason. I think him even more so because I think like right now Kaiser does seem to be ahead of him on the depth chart. So I think he needs to prove that he should be on the Hawks this year. He doesn't need to go back to Rockford. I think it's not the end of the world if he does, for his development. I don't think it'd be a full season thing too. I think as long as he just showed himself well there, like he'd get called up pretty seamlessly. But I'd rather that not have to be the case. I'd rather just stick with him in the Hawks. I think that's better for him. So he's a guy definitely I'll be looking at. He needs to have a good preseason as well, and definitely show that he's worthy of being up here for sure.
Also, you have to see if like some of these guys can still play, like some of the older
Yeah,
guys.
like Mike Martinez and Brody, like how are they
Yeah.
going to fit in with Vlasic and Jones? Like that stuff. I mean, Richardson gave his reasons. I don't really agree with them. I think Vlasic and Jones should be together, but I've gone over that a lot. But we'll see how that works out. Maybe Martinez and Jones, maybe that's a good pair. Maybe Vlasic Brody, same deal. I have my doubts there, I think, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. But yeah, the defense is pretty much, I think, that's the main takeaway. I think the defense here is pretty much, I think, what we expect to see during the season. That's not really on that different. But the offense is definitely very split on this lineup. So I think the Friday Saturday games, yeah, we'll see that kind of that swap, and that's when Khrushchev and Reichel kind of get a chance to show. But yeah, that's down the line though. I think tonight, yeah, I think just seeing that top line cook, seeing young guys like Nazar and Korchinski show themselves, like that's what we want to see. I think, yeah.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I'm just interested about the decor like going forward,
Yeah,
like
fair.
I think the next like 3 weeks, I think that's going to be, 3 weeks to the next 3 months, like even how they decide to play this.
It's a lot of options.
I'm
Yeah, for
really
sure.
I'm really passionate about not sending Kevin Korchinski to Rockford. I
Yeah.
think I think he needs to be playing National Hockey League games. Like this isn't, like the Maple Leafs didn't send Morgan Riley down to the minors. Like that wasn't, these guys don't go to the Seth Jones didn't go to the minors. These not that like there's anything wrong with going to the minors and playing. Like Simon Evanson's going to be really good, and he's been marinating down there with Grand Rapids for a while, but
Mm.
I don't know. Like his development in my mind is best spent with the NHL club. Not that the NHL is a developmental league, but the Hawks are a developmental team in the NHL if there ever was
Yeah.
one. So, yeah, like play him in the show. Same thing with Nazar. Like play him. I agree with you 100%. Play him. Why are we playing some of these guys that are, we're really talking about like battling for the 15th forward spot. Like it's more about, seeing if these guys can do it. Like, can you be that
Exactly.
guy? Can you be that? Like what we said on Monday, what I brought up with the quarterback. It's like, can you be that guy? And the other thing though, I am interested in as far as older players go, Taylor Hall. Like Taylor Hall is really
Yes.
big
He
for
has a
me.
lot to prove. A lot to prove. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if he could come back and be as like an MVP or even just like close to it, you hear these stories about these camps, and I don't really know how you've heard about the lore of these, like the Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon camps in Vail, Colorado, and
Oh, yeah.
the 3 day with like Mitch Marner and all these guys. Like he was there, Taylor was, and like getting ready for these games, and like that's not a group that you really mess around with from what it
Yeah,
seems
I
like.
watched Taylor Hall's like interview the other day, and he just looks really like he looks ripped. He looks like he's in insane shape, so and fully healthy. So if I have fully healthy Taylor Hall on this Hawks team, on the first line beds or even second line, like that could be a really really dangerous threat. So I think that's definitely the thing that a lot of people are underlooking. It's like they look at the additions we made, but they haven't taken account. Hey, Taylor Hall's still on this Hawks team. Like a lot of people kind of forgotten about that. And I think he can, put up 50, 60 points or more on this Hawks team. I think that's not out of question. And have himself, kind of resurrect his career here. So that's definitely something to look forward to watch. And the Hawks need that. Like they can't have what they had last year from they can't have, he needs to stay healthy. He needs to be in the games. And I think if he is, that's a big X factor for the Hawks this year for sure. Like you
Could,
said.
could you imagine if the Hawks made the playoffs this year? Like
I mean,
Taylor Hall scores 90 points, and
I mean, that's what would probably have to happen. You'd have to have
Yeah,
like
Bedard
his
scores
like
100
his
and
2018 Hart season, and Beds have to put up well over 100 points. Table Bertuzzi would have to have careers. Like it's not completely out of question, but like everything would have to go right. Everybody would have to have career years, no
I don't think it's
injuries.
at like a 1% chance. Like I don't think it's not like I think it's like I
Other
think we're
teams need
talking
to
about
fall off too. That's the thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like
I mean, yeah.
people are talking about Utah making the playoffs, you
Then
know.
yeah, if that's the case, then I feel like why shouldn't we be in those talks? I mean, I totally agree with that. I think people are
This
just
is
looking
Connor
at
Bedard we're
they're
talking
just
about.
they're just looking at last year's team, but like this isn't last year's team. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's a big jump to go from 52 points to 90 something. But like this is a team I think that it's not completely out of question they can make that jump. I think 70, 80 is more realistic, but I mean, to ask another 10, I mean, it's possible. I mean, yeah,
You
for
think they would
sure.
buy if they were in it?
So, that's the thing. I don't know if they would. I feel like if they were in the hunt, I mean, they wouldn't sell, I don't think, like, but I don't know if they'd add. I
Hmm.
don't know if they're really at that stage right now.
You could do a bit of both, like sell like Martinez and Brody and add
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, better hockey
Yeah.
players. I don't know.
I think the reverse is like they would definitely sell if like even if they're even a little out of playoff hunt, like they probably would sell somebody like a Taylor Hall, or those guys. But we'll see. I mean, Hall could have served himself as part of his core. You never know. We'll see. I think, but he's definitely a guy, definitely a big X factor in the Sox team. That and a Lucas Reichel breakout season. Those two things I think are the biggest X factors. And the third one being if Nazar makes teams a
Yeah.
Calder threat. Yeah, for sure.
If he made the team, he would score 40 points at least.
Yeah, I think he could put up 40, 50 easily. I think probably start him off lower, but like if he works his way to the top six, I mean, yeah, I think with Hall or Kurashev or whoever he ends up playing with that, yeah, he can make some noise for sure. No, I don't never see him in Calder talks. I never see him. All these posts, all these media guys, they never talk about Frank Nazar, and I don't know. I think they could regret that because I think he's definitely a guy who could surprise people this year. Yeah.
I think people are still worried about the college thing, and I think like some college, like Adam Fantilli got hurt, but like some of these college players do hit that wall still a little bit.
Mm.
Matty Beniers didn't. Some of the really high end guys don't, but I don't think like some of these guys like Oliver Moore and Nazar, like I don't think they really need any waiting period before playing in the NHL either. Like you gotta put these guys in score. Like Connor needs players to pass to, right? And Teravainen and Hall are players to pass to, but you'd rather them be like creating and helping neutralize other scoring lines on other teams, and spreading the wealth and putting like some really high end wingers with 98. So I just
Yeah, it is interesting because like we talk about this, yeah, like we're a rebuilding team, but it's like I understand bringing these vets in. I do. I think it's good for the competition, but it's like why should Maroon and Smith be in the lineup like on a consistent basis over a guy like Frank Nazar?
it
Like those
shouldn't.
two have no future on this team. And like it's not like we don't have guys like that, guys like Phil Dickinson who kind of fill that type of veteran presence, locker room role, whatever you want to call it. So I don't think those guys should be in Donato. Like I don't think those guys should be guaranteed spots just because they've been around, just because they're veterans. Because none of those guys, let's be honest, have any future, long-term future with this team. So I don't think, and Martinez, Brody, same deal. Like, why should they be in the lineup over a consistent basis over Kevin Korchinski just because they've been around? So I get it, bringing them in for competition, locker room stuff, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, this is a rebuilding team. You got to play the young guys. I mean, if they're not ready, that's one thing. But if they clearly show they're ready, then they shouldn't be in the AHL and overripe just for the sake of it. I mean, that does seem to be what they're going for. It's like the Dallas Stars formula, like they did with Stankoven. It's like they want to let these guys kind of stay there and be completely ready before they bring them up. But I don't know. I think there's another argument to be made there where it's like, yeah, but like if a guy's ready, why shouldn't he be up in the NHL? I don't know. It's tough. You kind of got to strike that balance between not rushing guys and like kind of overextending their stay in the minors. But I think you got to find that sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a day where the Hawks are involved in a big thing, like a Kirill Kaprizov acquisition.
Yeah. I
Like,
think next summer for sure. I think look out for that.
yeah, like
I mean, probably not. If it's next summer, it won't be Kaprizov, but I do think next year or year after would make a lot of sense. Like, yeah,
well, if you're the Minnesota Wild, and we can finish up here before we cut to cut to break and before the NHL hour. But like going to this Minnesota thing, like how if Kaprizov, if the Wild go to Kirill next summer when they can start negotiating an extension, and they say, here's an 8 by what 14, 13, 14. 8, maybe he won't take 8. Maybe he wants like between a 5 and a 7 kind of year deal. And he says, no, like, I'm not going to, like, I don't want to play here anymore. He's like, oh, I do want to play in Chicago. What do you do? Like, if you're Bill Guerin, you probably got to trade him. If you let Kaprizov walk, that's probably your job.
That's a disaster. Yeah. I mean, that's awful asset management, losing a franchise guy for absolutely nothing. So, and yeah, I mean, if the Wild don't make the playoffs this year, which I don't think they will, I mean, that's probably not going to help Kaprizov's cause to want to stay, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this team's a playoff team, but we'll see. Maybe it doesn't affect it. Maybe he thinks, oh, next year will be the year when you get that cap situation figured out and make the team better. But though it's not like the Wild have a bad future. I mean, they do have a decent prospect pool. But I mean, if I'm Kaprizov, I would look at Chicago and think that's probably a better place for me in the long term. But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Just kick my mic like a dummy. So all right, yeah, I don't know. I like the Wild. Like I said, Brock Faber's so good, but the future, the back end scares me. Brodin's getting older, Spurgeon's getting older. They're gonna play like the Fleury thing. I always thought Marc-Andre Fleury should have gone back to Pittsburgh. Like that would have been the way for me to end it if I were
I'm
him.
surprised he's still playing. I feel like for the last 3-4 years, every year he said, oh yeah, this will be the last season, and then he just keeps on playing. And also it's easy to forget he was a Blackhawk for like a year, or not even a year, but that felt like a fever dream in 21, 22. Like, as much as I love Flowers, like, what is this guy doing here? This is not right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, he's still playing somehow. I guess he'll be back up this year. And apparently this is the last season, but with him, who knows? I mean, you just never know with Flower. He could say fuck it and just keep playing longer. But I don't know. I think he probably should be retired by now. But at the same time, he's a great personality. Gotta love the guy. And like, I won't complain about seeing him play hockey longer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting. I thought the Blackhawks stint was like they thought they could win, and
yeah, no, we had high expectations going into that season, and then Jeremy Colleton and other stuff happened. So yeah, that was a bit of a disaster of a season, but at the same time, it was kind of necessary because it's the season that really finally started this rebuild with Davidson coming in, and so I think kind of those bad things in a way kind of, I hate to say it, but they kind of like needed to happen to get Bowman and those guys out of there and come out and get this rebuild going. So I think Davidson and the job he's done the last 2 years. I mean, this team's trajectory, long-term trajectory, is on a completely different level. I think what he's done should probably be studied in universities, but we'll see.
All right, so I think the point of this discussion is Kaprizov to Chicago, book it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. No. Let's embrace the delusion. It's probably not going to happen, but we'll be Maple Leafs fans and we'll be delusional and say it's going to happen.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it would be fun. Right? Chicago will make a big move at one point. I really think that they're going to be in something one day that we're all going to be like, holy cow, that they just gave us a whopper of a deal to chew on over here. All right. We're gonna take a break and we'll come back with NHL Hour. So keep it here. NHL Hour of Chicago Hockey Radio. We were just talking about the Four Nations face-off. What do you think about some of these countries that are? What do you think about some of these countries that are maybe not playing? I feel like Leon Draisaitl not playing at this tournament is such a big loss, and I think it could have been expanded. The Russia thing is obviously the problem, but. One, there is no best on best hockey tournament without Russia. But it also creates the issue of, you're adding a team that's maybe weaker and all that sort of thing. But, they should have opened it up a little bit more. But
Yeah, like I'm excited about the Four Nations Cup. I'm glad that some semblance of best and best international competition is back, but the fact that it's only 4 countries, I mean, what is this nonsense? I mean, it's only one team doesn't medal. It's like it doesn't make much sense to me. And there should be more countries. I mean, Czech, yeah, they get a nice totally NHL roster. I mean, why they're not in the tournament's beyond me. Russia, I understand why it's the politics, but I don't think it's out of players. I never understood why should get punished for that, but we understand why though. But yeah, like country like Germany, Switzerland, like why not? Why
Yeah.
shouldn't they be in it? There's plenty of NHL, caliber players. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I think it should be fun, but yeah, I mean, it does feel like it's untapped and could be definitely expanded upon, improved upon in the future if
No
they keep doing that.
Pasternak from Slovak or Czech Republic.
Yeah, I mean, Czech Pro, they just won the World Championship, and like,
Yeah.
why the hell are they not there? Makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But Bedard's probably going to be on Team Canada too.
Oh
right?
yeah, that's you can lock that in. Yeah, so I'm excited to watch that.
Do you think Seth Jones cracks Team USA?
He probably does. I mean, he was on the World Championship team. I think players who were on that World Championship team this year probably will get preferential treatment. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I think he's good enough to be a top 7 there. I mean, the other probably guys who could win out over him, but I mean, Seth still means he's good enough. I'm sure he probably won a spot there. He's played with the U.S. a lot in international competition, so it would not surprise me if he and Werenski were like a deep pair with them. So,
are you a big like Team USA guy? Like Lee's a big Team USA guy.
No, what the fuck is a kilometer? No, I'm all for freedom. I'm all for USA. I'll be cheering hard for them. And I mean, I hope Bedard has a good tournament. But if we play them, I hope we beat the shit out of Canada. That's what I hope. So yeah.
All right, hold on. So NHL. I'm trying to figure out like what this American decor could look like at the World or at the. I want to call it the World Cup, but it's not the World Cup.
Should be the World Cup. We got to bring that back.
No, Four Nations. So you got Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes. American defenseman. Why am I blanking? I am only thinking of Canadian defensemen.
McAvoy.
McAvoy.
Werenski.
Both of those guys
Seth
will be on
could
the team.
Be. Slavin's American, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got to be there. Let's see who else. You said Quinn Hughes?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Quinn Hughes and Fox. Yeah.
Yeah, McAvoy. Yeah, you're right. So. I mean, including Jones, that's 6 right there. I'm trying to think. Maybe there's probably somebody that we're missing that people are going to be like screaming at the.
Yeah, it's hard to think of that at the top of your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good core right there, though. Yeah.
That's a really good core.
And they're going to be stacked on forwards and goaltending. You got Hellbuck back there and Otter. Like that's definitely one area they'll be better than Canada's goaltending. I mean, offense, defense. I think it's pretty close, but Canada might have an edge on offense, I'd imagine. But defense, maybe the U.S. has an edge. We'll see.
So you think? Okay, so I don't want to like derail NHL hour into USA hockey hour, but USA should like win these next 2 events. Like I'm talking the Four Nations and then the Olympics.
They should, but for whatever reason, whenever it comes to men's competition, the U.S. always, they're like the Maple Leafs of international hockey. They always find a way to disappoint. So the juniors, they're great. They're always winning the World Junior Championships, the U18s. So it would make sense that they would start winning the international competitions too. But World Championships, they always suck. And Olympics, they haven't won anything there in a while. But I mean, now that we have actual full NHL rosters again in lineups, maybe that'll be what helps
but this is different when you got like Matthews, Jack Hughes,
I hope my boy Kaner's still there, but it might be tough for him to crack this lineup, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Patrick. Well, I think Patrick Kane will probably.
I think he's still capable. Yeah. I think he could still be on that team.
You'll have DeBrincat on the team too.
Yeah. Probably Larkin too. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably Larkin.
It's just to have a Red Wings line there.
Seriously. But like Jack Hughes playing with Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk and that's.
Yeah. I mean,
that's probably the best forward core the Americans have ever had. Tage Thompson.
Yeah. I mean, they have no excuses not to be in contention to win these things.
Clayton Keller, all those guys should be on the team. R.I.P. Johnny Gaudreau too. He probably would have been on the team.
Yeah, no, he definitely would have been there. That's a shame.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. Jones will probably be on the team. Yeah, there should be more countries.
Keith Vlasic could be there. Actually, he could beat out Jones. Probably not though, but I think he has a case. Yeah, I mean, I'm high in Vlasic. I think people underrate him a lot, but
I hear you. I'm trying to think what other American there. John Carlson maybe could be on the team. He's a bit old.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah, he's a bit old. Mikey Anderson could be on the team. I don't know. Some of these guys could.
Pick Vlasic over him.
You'd pick, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do we got? What do we got in NHL Hour? Is the preseason too long? I talked about it on my show today, just a rash of injuries. And I just don't really know if maybe all these preseason games are worth it. They're talking about like cutting the NHL season, but I don't know. I think they should cut the preseason in half.
Yeah, it's what, 7 games. Maybe you could cut down to 4 or 5. I mean, it's what, 2.5 weeks cut down to a week and a half. I mean, there's a case there. I mean, I think it's more so for like the guys who are fighting for roster spots. I mean, do these vets need to be playing in these games? Like, I think it's good to get a couple under you just to shake the rust off. But then you do risk injuries, but that's always a risk. I mean, I think it's been that way for a while, and I think it works. I mean, do they need 6, 7 games? Probably not, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily too long. I think it's more just down to the teams and how they like manage the roster and the lineups. It's kind of on them. So, and the players, how they play in the games. Like normally you take it a little easier, for that reason, to avoid injuries. But I mean, it can be kind of hard to do once you're actually out there. Easier said than done. But
what do you
I
think
the way that works now is fine.
What do you think about the NHL expanding rosters? Like if they
expanding rosters, like
yeah, I don't know. Like maybe playing international rules where like you could dress 7 defensemen and your roster is maybe like 25, 26 guys. I don't know. I think that could be interesting to that way. Like
I think the defensive side that would make more sense because when you're asking 6 guys to play, like then you have like that top pair oftentimes playing almost half the game. It's like, is that really necessary? So I think having like an extra defenseman would help with that, help kind of take off a load a bit. I think
forward too.
With forwards, yeah, I mean 12, I think that's plenty. But I mean a 13th, to play kind of situations, yeah, it might work out. Especially, I think that worked out great. The Hawks, they have such a log jam on the offense, like where that would kind of solve that problem. So actually, now that you say that, I'm kind of all for the idea. Let's just do international rules. Yeah, 13 forward, 7 defensemen, have an extra forward, extra D. Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, I asked Dylan Baker the question of so should like the NHL expand? Is it going to be too watered down? And he was like, he shot it down pretty quickly and was like, no. And
I think there's plenty of talent in this all over hockey and all over the world. So
I'm kind of on the fence.
I agree.
I'm kind of on the fence of the issue still. Because I think a lot of guys are going to retire, and the NHL in 5 years might look a lot more watered down than it does right now. Once you get the retirements of some of these, Patrick Kane, Sidney Crosby.
That's true. But then you got all these prospects coming. I feel like each draft just gets stronger and stronger, so much deeper. So you have guys leave, but you always have guys coming in, and I don't know. I think there's so much talent around the world. I mean, would these guys leave their leagues? I mean, who knows? But I think you could fill in another, I don't know, 1 or 2 teams if they decide to expand to 34 teams or have these bigger rosters, 25. I think it would work out, honestly.
How many stars do you think a team should have?
Well, you probably want like elite stars, like probably at least 2 on offense, 1 on defense. So 3 or 4 if you include the goalie.
Yeah, but that's like
if you're like
lucky.
Elites.
Yeah. But like,
you probably want a core 4 that's elite. Yeah.
If you're talking about the Hawks, like when they you probably had 6 or 7 elite players.
Oh yeah, during the dynasty days, yeah, for sure. I mean, you had Kane, Taves, Keith Seabrook. I mean, Hossa. I don't know if Sharp's a star, but yeah, Hossa. That's like 5 right there.
Nick Jalmerson was a star.
You can argue, yeah. I mean, it depends what you call a star, right? Like I think a lot of those guys are like there's a difference between very good and great, right? So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Matthias Ekholm is like, think of how valuable he is to the Edmonton Oilers right now. And it's like, oh no, he's not Evan Bouchard, right? But he's
I could play defense.
Well, yeah, but like I think Evan Bouchard, like that's the guy you're gonna pay $8.5 million on an 8-year deal plus, maybe more because he's right-handed and it's Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, Mr. 4 out there, the Rover.
Yeah, no, but like think of how much worse that decor would be if they didn't have Matthias Ekholm. And first of all,
like, that was a huge ad.
How they have no replacement for him whatsoever, and that Darnell Nurse contract. But not to derail on the Oilers, but I was just
their version of Seth Jones.
Yeah, it was just more of an overall question of like, one, the expanding the roster thing just like popped into my head, but I do think it would help the Hawks a lot. And
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it'd make more sense to have, guys like Nick Dazar and Korchinski. I think that would kind of wipe away that argument of not having them on the team. So, yeah, and with the long jam, it would solve a lot of those problems for sure. Just have more guys to play. I think would help with injuries too. There should be less issues with that because ice time would go down a bit. So, yeah, I think there's an argument there for sure.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I doubt the NHL would ever do that, but
Probably not, but wishful thinking. Yeah, we could always dream.
yeah, I mean, but like if you wanted to like cut down the preseason, I would be all for it. Yeah, just get to the regular
Like
season
a
right
couple
away.
games. Yeah. I mean, plus you have this training camp like that's often like a week before anyway. So a lot of these guys have intense training regimens too during the offseason, like where they're already kind of ready to go. So I don't know if you need 3 weeks, of prep before the season. I
The
think
NHL played a
two's
couple of
probably enough, right? Yeah.
they played a couple of seasons of 84 games, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't that a thing? I don't know what
So maybe
years
we
it was.
could maybe we can delete a couple preseason games and add them to the regular season, bring back the 84
Yeah,
game format. Yeah, that
that's what
works
I'm
for me.
thinking.
I'd much rather watch two more regular season games than two more preseason games. I think everybody agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be a good idea. What are you liking in the preseason right now around the NHL? I don't know how much like of the other teams you're watching. It is preseason and there's I don't know if you're like keeping tab. I don't know if you're keeping tabs on like 8 games a night when it's preseason right now.
I kind of just glance at the scores and see like who's producing and things like that. Kind of,
Yeah,
especially like those guys like is this guy gonna be on the team? See what they're doing. Like you look at I think you mentioned like in the Flames like Coronado, like young guys like that as like guys I'm tracking to see how they're doing. It seems like it's been pretty hectic for what I've seen. Like there's been a lot of higher scoring games and even so, it seems like the action's been more intense this year where it's like the vets actually seem to be like trying pretty hard in this preseason. I can see that too. There's been a few injuries, nothing really super serious, but it seems like everybody's like ready to go this year. It's all business during this preseason. Like sometimes they're kind of boring, but I don't think this year's preseason's been very boring. I think the Leafs and Senators have had some pretty exciting games too, like from what I've seen. So and Utah's had some pretty fun games. So yeah, I mean it definitely seems like it's been more entertaining from what I've seen this year than usual, which I hope will be the case for the Blackhawks too, which I think it will be. So
yeah.
yeah.
How bad like is Pittsburgh really going to be like
Well, I
that
noticed
bad?
that one game that they were getting absolutely pummeled by Buffalo. Like, what was it, 6-1 or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if like what that team is going to look like, but that's why I said like
I
maybe
think
they
they're
should
going
have
to be
gotten
ass.
Fleury. Like the goaltending is just so suspect. I think Tristan Jarry is not the guy.
I think he's a fraud.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. He has never maintained any sort of consistency ever, and the Penguins have invested a lot into him.
Yeah, like when
And
he's on, he's a good goalie. But yeah, then when he loses it, like his glove hand could be it's like Swiss cheese sometimes. So
I mean, the Penguins are really far away from a Stanley Cup, but
yeah, no, I think they're going to be kind of ass this year.
do you think they think that they're? I think Sidney Crosby thinks so. They're a couple
I
of
think they
pieces
think they're
away.
a playoff team. Yeah, I think they think they're still a big attention, but I'm not sold. I just don't think the
I don't
depth is
think Kyle
there.
Dubas thinks that.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah,
I think the McGroarty addition helps, but I still think that offense outside of Crosby, Malkin, like those top guys, I think losing Gensel is going to hurt them more than people. I mean, I think people know it's going to hurt them. I think it's going to hurt them even more than that. And the defense, like outside of Latane Carlson, they're only getting older. A couple other decent guys there, but it's just not that. It doesn't move me. And the goaltending, like you said, is suspect. So yeah, I'm not really sold on them.
Rucker McGroarty's sick, eh? Like he's so good.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of like I know some people don't like this kind of culture with guys like Gauthier, McGroarty, but like I kind of like that they're assholes a bit. It's a bit different from the norm, right? Not assholes, but like they're not afraid to kind of voice out and kind of get what they want. They think highly of themselves and know what they're capable of. And they want to play in the NHL. It's like that's fair enough, right? So I obviously hope it doesn't happen with my guys, but in terms of other teams out mine, seeing guys jump ship and like, no, I'll go here. So no, I think it'll be interesting to see what he does. He's definitely an animal. I mean, I remember watching him with the World Juniors, both those guys, like a lot of fun to watch. So I think they'll definitely be in the conversation for Calder this year for sure. Both
that'd
of
be
them.
cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. If he was sick, like that would be a stepping stone of the Penguins. Maybe being okay. Maybe.
It would help for sure. Yeah.
Anything else you're tapped into around the league right now, or
Around
around these
the
preseason?
preseason. Hmm. I don't know. I think more just some of the injuries we've seen. I mean, they don't really seem that serious, but like we've had guys like Panarin. Panarin, I don't even know if we know how long he's going to be out. I just know he has
No.
like an undisclosed injury or something. So hopefully not long. I think Matthews is playing through something non-serious was the quote. So whatever that means, but I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal, but you never know. I think Elias Lindholm's out for a week or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like we're just seeing a lot. We know in the preseason, you don't really see a lot of this stuff, right? Like, we guys getting through pretty healthy because they play a different way, but this year seems to be different for some reason. So yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a storyline to watch. See if any of these teams get banged up for the season, or maybe it's just small things that it's not a big deal. But yeah,
Yeah. I'm interested to get going here
yeah, I'm
with the
ready to get
regulars.
going.
Yeah, like it's
Fortunately, we have
time
to
to
wait
get
two
going.
more weeks though. That's gonna feel like forever.
Yeah. Do you think Vancouver's going to be able to figure out things without that
With
Tredemko?
Demko.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be tricky. I mean, I think it would have having him in that series against Edmonton, I think that could have changed that series. So I think, they're still a damn good team, but I think they're gonna miss Demko more than people think. I think they're still a playoff team. There's no question about that, I think. But it wouldn't shock me if they took a step back this year. Some guys, that team definitely, I think it's fair to say, overperformed a bit. And can they replicate that? I don't know. I mean, it's asking for a lot out of this guys, but the team does have a ton of depth. There's no question about that. So I think it should help with kind of alleviating that loss of Demko, however long he's out, which, I mean, it seems like he could be out for, correct me if I'm wrong, like he could be out for this whole season. Am I wrong in
I
saying that?
I have no idea what
I feel like we don't have much information on him. It's
yeah.
just kind of weird, and who will he be the same? It seems like what he's dealing with is like, it's like such an unknown, like nobody's really dealt with it before. Um, so yeah, will he be the same goalie when he comes back? Or
I've
yeah,
heard
is the
people talking
question.
like, "Oh, can Artur Shilovs play like 50 games?"
I don't know about that.
But like people are talking about that. So it might be like you said like close to the playoffs if anything.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That goaltending is going to be a question mark for them this year for sure. But the rest of the roster is pretty strong, so I think hopefully it should be able to alleviate that. Yeah,
I think when we did our like play or our season picks and whatever at the
I think I
start,
had them in second, but
I
yeah,
think they could miss the playoffs.
I don't know if I would now. I probably have them in. I think I'd still have them like I put them down one spot. I think third. I think they're still a playoff team, but I don't think it'll be easy. Like they're not going to win the division the way they did last year, and they're definitely going to have to fight for it this year. I think they'll be kind of in that race, but I think they'll still edge it out because that division's just so brutally bad. I just don't know who bumps them out. I don't think anybody's really capable of doing that. I'm not really so. I think the Kings are decent, but I don't think they're good enough to jump ahead of them in the standings. And I think five teams going to make it the Central, three in the Pacific. My thoughts haven't changed there,
Yeah.
so I just don't see Seattle. I think could be better, but I don't think they're a playoff team. And the three teams at the bottom, they all suck. So I just don't think anybody's really going to bump them out. But I think Vegas and Edmonton probably finish ahead of them now. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
if suddenly Elias Pettersson dries up and JT Miller dries up and Brock Besser isn't putting 40 into the net, maybe he puts in like 28 into the net. Like
Yeah. It's like
that,
you need all those guys to replicate the seasons they had last year, and that's not an easy ask. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know, man. That could be tough.
I think Pedersen, that's the big thing there. It's like he's like the one guy, that core bunch who he had a good season last year, but I think he has war in him. He could be a 100+ point player. So if he kind of gets back to that production, like that could kind of help with that, I think, for sure.
We didn't talk about Cole Perfetti on here.
Oh yeah, I think the extension happened right after our last episode, so we didn't get a chance to
Oh,
talk
it
about him.
did. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years, 3.25 million, which I think that's kind of I know we kind of anticipated what his contract would look like on another episode. I think that's kind of where I thought it'd be kind of like below Mercer's contract of 4 million, 2-year bridge deal. Just kind of show us what you got. I think if you're the Jets, you got to play in that top six this year. You got to give him a chance to really show what he's got up there with playing with guys like Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele, Nikolai Ehlers, and really, give this guy a chance to prove himself and make that jump. So I think he showed a lot of potential last year, but didn't always get the opportunities. But I think you give him those opportunities and he can really shine and break out. So he'll definitely be a guy that'll be fun to watch these next 2 years and see if he can secure the bag in 2 years for sure.
Yeah. I agree. But I think they're gonna like hope he scores at a point per game pace.
Yeah, and I think he could do. I don't know the next 2 years, but I think in his prime he could definitely be producing at that rate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Winnipeg is, they're the New York
They
Island
desperately need that.
they're the New York Islanders of the of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need him to break out of the Jets. Like, I think a lot of people have them dropping back this year, but if Perfetti could have the season, I think they hope that he could have. I think that would help out a lot with that, and that they should still be a playoff team. But will they do anything in the playoffs? I don't know. I'm not really sold on them, but we'll see.
I just had somebody pounding on the door. That was wild. So hold on, I was just looking at my list of active NHL defensemen that are good. Yeah. All right, so we're coming back from a Raven cut. Had some guy pounding on the door. So figured it was apt time to bring up Claude Giroux's car getting stolen.
Yeah, what's going on over there? A Grand Theft Auto over there in Ottawa. So yeah, Drew had his automobile stolen. So I don't know what's going on over there. If he's got it back or if it's impounded or if they know where it is. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting storyline to come out this morning. I'm not sure what's going on over there. I'm not sure what's going on over there either.
Maybe not like Chicago Hockey Radio's place to comment here, but like crime in Canada is up. Over the last like 5 years. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was gonna say, like for me, like I was totally unaware of that. Like this is something I would have expected out of somewhere like St. Louis or Detroit or even here in Chicago. I would have thought of a Grand Theft Auto in Ottawa. But if crime's up in Canada, that's unfortunate.
Mitch Marner was robbed at gunpoint too.
Can I read you guys a
quote? I
do
remember that
about what Giroux has said?
Sure.
Giroux?
Yeah, what he said about they said that we're banking on never seeing that car again.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that answers that question.
Yeah. No.
I guess he needs to get a new one. I'm sure he's got, I'm sure he'll have something nice in mind.
Insurance will probably cover that too.
Yeah. I don't know if he's got Geico. What's going on over there? Allstate.
His wife woke up and tweeted and said that the car's tracker was actively driving and they were unable to get a hold of Ottawa police until 3 hours after that.
Yeah, that thing's gone.
All right, continuing on this discussion too, that I'm looking at now, this list of American defensemen right now. You tell me if any of them could make the team or not. Noah Hannafin, Brady Shea. Who else do we got here? Connor Murphy.
No, absolutely not.
Keandre Miller.
Not yet. In the future, potentially.
Yeah. Maybe. I think Keandre could make the team. Ryan Lindgren,
he could compete. Yeah.
Jake Sanderson.
Yeah, he could definitely be in the mix, I think, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Luke Hughes, maybe?
Potentially.
He's hurt, though.
Not yet. I think, like you said, he's hurt right now, but I think he's a ways away. But he'll definitely be
buying
in the mix
this
in the
Devils
future.
stuff? Are you buying this, like, Devils hype right now?
Oh, they're going to be. I think they'll have a better season. I mean, I don't know if they're going to, have the 50 win, 100 plus point season they had 2 years ago, but I think they're a playoff team. I think with the goaltending situation being hopefully resolved there, that should solve their biggest problem last year. And I feel like that team's just too good not to be a playoff team. I mean, they have so much good pieces there. I think that'd be an absolute failure on their part to miss the playoffs again the second year in a row. I just don't see it happening. But it is such a good division. That's the thing. It's like it's not like the Pacific or whatever over here. So it's a much deeper division over there in the Metro. So we'll see. I think they're a playoff team, but I don't know if they're necessarily like a top cup contender like some people are thinking. So I'm kind of in between, I guess, the thought process there.
Also, who we were talking about earlier on the Minnesota Wild, Brock Faber, could probably take that spot on the U.S. blue line too. Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying what New Jersey is selling a whole heck of a lot.
Do you think they're a playoff team?
Yes, but
not a cup contender.
Yeah, I mean, but like playoff team, even in like, I think the East is going to be way much more of like, well, I want to say a dogfight, but
more unpredictable.
Yeah. Well, I think the West is going to be more unpredictable. Like I think Utah and the Blackhawks could make the playoffs. In some universe, I think more or less we could sketch out like the 9 teams in the Eastern Conference that are in the mix. Truly. But if one of them misses, if the Bruins miss, or if. Like who are you pulling out of the playoffs from last year? Maybe the Islanders.
I thought Owls Capitals would be my picks.
Yeah, the Capitals for sure.
Yeah, I think people are overhyping them. I know they made some additions, but people seem to think they're all of a sudden a better team. But I don't know. I think they're kind of mid, kind of like the Penguins. I put them in the same realm. So I would have the Red Wings or Sabres in the playoffs over those 2 teams. Yeah.
I also think the Lightning are going to miss Steven Stamkos so much.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we'll see how Gensel falls in there, but that does look like it could be a one-line team at the moment. So yeah, we'll see.
It's Steven Stamkos. Had you not, I don't know, man.
They really fumbled the bag over there.
That just like pops into my head, and it frustrates me.
Yeah, I'm cheering against them after the way they treat Stamkos. Like, I hope they fall out, but they'll probably still find a way, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope Gensel's really good and they miss the playoffs.
That's fair.
That's what I hope. That would be cool.
I also hope Stamkos has a great season, which I think he will. It should be pretty seamless fit over there. Not that I want the Predators to do well, because I'm not a Predators guy, but they're in our division, but like, I hope he does well. Stamkos, I always liked him.
You think he's going to score 40 goals?
I think I'll say he does it. I think he has plenty of motivation this year. I think he's got enough pieces around him there. But yeah, he doesn't have Kucherov feeding him. But I don't know. I think he's still capable of scoring 40. It's easy to forget he's still one of the best snipers and goal scorers in this league. So I think he's capable of doing that.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for the NHL portion of today's show. Gonna call it quits there, unless there's any other last minute bits and pieces you wanted to get in there.
Not NHL related, but I hope the Blackhawks, I hope they have a good opening preseason game tonight. I hope we'll see a W, even though it doesn't really matter. But I'm looking forward to having seeing Blackhawks hockey back, and yeah, should be fun to watch.
And then we'll talk about it on Friday, and then
Absolutely.
we will tee up their next game against the Detroit Red Wings as well on Friday night. Yeah. So 8 NHL games around the preseason schedule tonight. Thanks to Raven again for sitting in and working the ones and twos and the recording today. And also go check out Good Morning Hockey if you're listening to this, the morning show. Go check out Forum Blues if you're just a fan of the NHL. And see you Friday, Justin.
Yeah, adios.